One.
Hello, everybody.
Hi, guys. Kat Howard here with Windermere Real Estate. Who are you, Dan? Introduce yourself.
I'm Dan Mellis with Nexa Mortgage. Cat got my tongue here right now. So anyway, I'm pumped.
Well, hey, here we are, you guys, live for the first time in a couple of weeks, except for a couple of instances I went live while I was redoing my pond. Some of you may or may not have caught that. I was lining my old jacuzzi, in-ground jacuzzi, and turning it into a water feature and putting a pretty black liner in there. And I was kind of showing you guys the ropes a couple mornings, the progress along the way. I haven't shown you the final product, but I'll get to that later. Anyway. So, hey, Dan, how are you doing?
I'm doing pretty good, Kat. How are you doing?
Good. Been a busy couple of weeks. We took a couple weeks off, right, Dan?
Yep. We took a week off. It could have been worse. Could have been longer.
It was just 1 week, wasn't it?
Just last week. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, I guess that's right. Yeah. I was thinking it was 2 weeks. Feels like it's been forever, guys.
That's right. Well, it was a good week. It was a good week to take off last week, you know.
Yeah, it was gorgeous weather. You know, lots of stuff for us to do to keep us busy and out of trouble.
That's right. At least out of trouble.
That's right. So Dan, you know what I want to know?
No, what's that, Kat?
I want to know how are interest rates doing, Dan?
You know what? They're doing terrific. They really are. Yeah, this is turning into a terrific buyer's market. I'm not joking. You know, we got rates coming down. They're not coming down in a straight drop. They're not free falling, but by the same token, they are coming down. You know, like 3 steps down, 2 steps back. And it does look like this much I can tell you, Kat.
Yeah.
I'm getting a lot of scuttlebutt coming not just from my, not from all the people I normally follow, but just the mortgage business in general. There is a lot, like in today's town hall that we have at Nexa. We had a part that they're like giving us the pep talk. Interest rates are coming down, you know, and it's kind of, I'm starting to hear.
So you think this time it's going to really happen, Dan?
I do. It's already happening. Yes.
It is happening. We are in the process, and we're down. How much are we down? 30 basis points?
Well, we're down from late April, we're down 50 basis points right now.
That's amazing. That's a half a point.
That's a half a point. That's right.
That's right. Awesome.
But what we've seen since the end of April really has been a deterioration almost across the board in most of the economic indicators. And so you're starting to see, softening coming from, well, you name it, but from like the employment numbers, I think are the most important. And, but the employment numbers, today's housing numbers, existing home sales came in soft. It's not like it's a horrible market. It's a wonderful buyer's market right now, just my opinion. But it is a wonderful buyer's market because you have,
you know what? It is getting more buyer friendly, Dan. It's getting easier to get under contract on a house, on the house that you want, right? So we're still running into multiple offers, but it's just not as common. And you're not having to pay as much over asking price to actually get that house. You know, a bully offer right now looks like less than 5%, which is amazing because that's doable, right? Because we normally have appreciation of between 4 and 6%, or maybe a little more than that annually. And so if you have to pay an extra 3 or 4% to get into the house that you really, really, really want in the neighborhood that you really want, that's okay. That's maybe a year to play catch up with appreciation. So I don't mind that. I just had a buyer, Chelsea, do that. She came in $40,000 over on a home that was listed for $960,000, and that was just enough to get her the house. And that was a bully offer, and they did manage to come up with a second, competing offer. but we did not escalate. We just stuck to our guns where she was comfortable, and she got the house. So
congratulations.
Yeah, thank you. And then I did the same thing. So Dan, that was an early offer, right? And so I did the same thing a week later with Dave and Lisa. So Dave and Lisa have been trying to buy a house on Camino for the last 2 years straight. And Rambler came across my desk with a pretty good water view to the east. And we ran out there, took a look at it. Within the first 24 hours, it was on the market. We literally sat on the back deck for 2 hours. It was that good. And that turned into a strategy session on how do we get this house, Kat. And so, we worked out most of the details while we were on their deck looking at the beautiful view from their patio set. And then I raced home and wrote the offer and got it submitted that evening about 5:30. And I'll be danged if we didn't have it signed around the very next morning. So all we did was offered full price, and we kept our financing contingency in there. We we had an inspection contingency, septic, HOA. So we had all the contingencies that you would normally utilize in that offer, and they accepted it. We were the only game in town. So we had no other competing offers at that point. Granted, they'd only been on the market a little over a day and just weekdays at that. I think they listed on Wednesday, and we submitted an offer on Thursday, and they signed it Friday morning, which worked out perfectly. We ended up having our inspection Monday morning. So we got the inspection done with and over with right away as well. But my point is, you guys, is that, if you're a buyer out there, if you're jumping on these properties very quickly, you have a chance to get it at full price. Especially if it's a really cool property, you want to be the first one there. So anyway, so that's kind of my point. So 2 houses in a couple of weeks that I got my buyers into without having to overpay by too much, or not at all.
Wow. That's
so good
pretty
story.
Cool.
Yeah,
that's a really good story. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, Dave and Lisa, 2 years of looking, right? And, we didn't really feel like we had let one get away either. That was the other thing. They were really wanting a Rambler. This is 4 bedrooms. It's got a 2-car attached garage with extra tall garage doors. It's got a nice yard with gardens, and it's got an end-to-end house, end-to-end. The deck is the full width of the house. And it's got glass railings and a opaque glass covered deck area with tall glass on either end, opaque glass all the way full height to obscure the neighbors' houses.
Wow.
There's a lot to say about this. It's only 3 years old on top of it, you guys. On top of all the other stuff, it's 3 years old. Tall ceilings, high ceilings in a Rambler. Oh my gosh, I can't. It's just amazing. Anyway, cool. One of the coolest houses I've sold recently, for sure.
So that's cool. Yeah, that is cool.
They're going to be very happy there. Guarantee it. And there's a hot tub right outside the primary bedroom that's partially sunken into the deck. And so they don't, you don't have to walk up a set of stairs to get in the hot tub. So it's really easy. So anyway, it's just perfect for a retired couple. So it's awesome. There's no steps, Dan. No steps. No
that's
steps.
My kind of house. That's
I tell you, it's a beauty. It's beautiful.
Wow.
So midway down the island, so not too far. Good location, close to the grocery store. And it have access to 3 beaches. Oh my gosh, I forgot about that. Private access.
Oh yeah, 3 beaches. Oh my goodness.
Yep. So you can literally drive down to the beach, park there, and then tool around, take a walk around the waterfront area down there. So it's a neat situation. Mr. Fat Tuesday, what seems to be the issue, young man? You're a good watchdog. I know. I don't know if anybody's told you that today. Little buddy.
Okay. Well, on that, do you want to look at the stats or the offer review stats?
Yeah.
Which one
let's look at the stats, and then you guys were going to talk about the effectiveness of offer review dates. Right, Dan?
Yes, that's right. Let's do that.
So let's
So we got
look at
King
King.
County,
Let's look
right?
at King County. Yeah, let's look at King County first. MSI is kind of going up and down a little bit, but staying much higher than it was in the spring. So we're at 1.4 months supply of inventory in King County. 41% of sellers got under contract within the first 7 days on the market if they listed their home between July 7th and July 13th. 49% of sellers got under contract within the first 14 days on the market if they listed their home between June 23rd and July 6th. 45% of sellers in King County set offer review dates. And we have 2,113 active listings on the market in King County right now. That would be the high for the year right now.
Wow.
We have a lot of listings on the market right now. And the stat that I didn't pull was how many price reductions that I meant to do that this week. It's a lot, you guys. It's into the hundreds of price reductions per week in King County right now. So a lot. And the same in Snohomish, a lot of price reductions. So people overshooting the market.
Yeah. You want to go over to Snohomish?
Yes, I would love to go over to Snohomish. Hey, did you notice what the outfit I'm wearing? I got this dress. It fits now. Remember, it was like a little bit too. I got the next size up, and now it fits. Covers everything. Did you notice that?
Oh, good.
My little polka dot dress. Yeah.
Yes,
You didn't notice, you guys. That's fine. He's a guy.
No, I noticed it's a brown with the white polka dots.
It is. It's actually black with white polka dots, but it probably looks brown from through the screen.
Yeah.
Anyway. All right. So Snohomish County is going up and down with MSI too. I think a lot of that fluctuation is due to the recent holiday. So honestly, till the July 4th, that turned into a 4-day weekend sort of thing. So I think it impacted the market a lot more than we anticipated that it would. And so we've got MSI that's kind of going up and down right now, so.
But you know what? It's still not out of whack. I mean, it's at it's at 1.3, and for King it was at 1.4. I mean, that's not a
And to be fair, Snohomish has a really good market going.
Yeah,
it's still a pretty strong seller's market, which that's a good thing because I have another listing coming on next week. So Snohomish County, 39% of sellers got under contract within the first 7 days on the market if they listed their home between July 7th and July 13th. 49% of sellers got under contract within the first 14 days on the market if they listed their home between June 23rd and July 6th. Only 36% of sellers in Snohomish County did set offer review dates, so that number is coming down. I'm considering setting an offer review date on my listing next week. We'll see. I might test the water and hold it open on Thursday and Friday and see what the activity is like. It's got a brand new kitchen, so we don't want to get caught pre-advertising here, so I won't say too much about it. But I'm considering setting an offer review date, but I think I might test the water first and then possibly set an offer review date. If I think that the market will bear it, I think I might set it for Sunday or Monday. So, and Snohomish County has 1.3 months supply of inventory. So that's holding fairly steady right now.
Yeah.
So how about Pierce? Should we do Pierce?
Let's head on over to Pierce. Yeah.
I know Dan likes Pierce County. He does.
I love my kind of county.
Jesus. Right. So 28% of sellers in Pierce County got under contract within the first 7 days on the market if they listed their home between July 7th and July 13th. 35% of sellers got under contract within the first 14 days on the market if they listed their home between June 23rd and July 6th. Only 14% of sellers in Pierce County are setting offer review dates as of last week. So they've really kind of gotten out of that habit down there, or that practice, I should say. So Pierce County has got 1.6 months supply of inventory. And the number of listings currently on the market is 1,421. And I want to say that also is a year high. It's a high for this year. I want to say since January 1st. So the inventory is creeping up in all the counties, to be fair. How about Mason? Should we do Mason?
Yeah, let's do Mason.
Listen, we got to show Mason some love.
Well, we got to show some sympathy.
Mason County, 17% of sellers got under contract within the first 7 days on the market if they listed their home between July 7th and July 13th. Only 27% of sellers in Mason County got under contract within the first 14 days on the market if they listed their home between June 23rd and July 6th. And only 5% of sellers in Mason County set offer review dates. And that's for good reason. So, you would not want to set an offer review date in Mason County unless you have that shiny object, that home with a water view or waterfront, right? So absolutely perfectly ready for the market, because you're risking running off all the other buyers that can look at all the other houses and not compete. So, setting an offer review date is an invitation for buyers to compete, and buyers don't like to compete, especially this time of year.
I'll tell you this much, Kat, this is just my opinion, but you got to be an awfully bold seller when you got 17% that's selling in the first 7 days. You got to be very bold to be able to set a review date at this point. This is not for the weak of heart.
That's right. And Mason County has 2.3 months supply of inventory. So they essentially have a fairly balanced market. The best listings, though, are selling within the first 7 to 14 days. You've got over a quarter getting under contract within the first 2 weeks. So, the best stuff is getting sold right away. So if you're a buyer in Mason County, you do have to watch that market very closely, or you will miss the house that might be the perfect home for you. So,
right.
Let's see, Skagit.
Yes, we've got Skagit.
We just had a client, Eric, purchase a home up in Skagit County. It was a little nicer neighborhood, a little nicer quality home in Skagit County, Mount Vernon area, versus what he was looking at in Snohomish and Marysville area. So he opted to drive a couple extra minutes and move to Mount Vernon, and he loves it. Absolutely loves it. So Skagit County's got quite the market going. So 46, is that right? Oh my goodness. Wow. 46% of sellers. Yeah, 46% of sellers got under contract within the first 7 days on the market in Skagit County if they listed their home between July 7th and July 13th. And 36% of sellers got under contract within the first 14 days on the market if they listed their home between June 23rd and July 6th. So Skagit County a week to 2 weeks ago had quite the 7-day data. Almost half the houses that got listed are under contract. So wasn't that, let's see, that was the week after July 4th weekend. So it was that following week. Yep.
Right.
Yep. So 22% of sellers in Skagit County set offer review dates. That number could be higher. They have a market that could support a bit higher setting an offer review date.
Right. Yeah.
Skagit County has 1.5 months supply of inventory. And that's staying really consistent. It really has. It's been 1.5, 1.4, 1.6 for months now. So they've got a very stable real estate market going on up there this summer. Very stable. More stable.
You know what I've been just dying to get to?
What?
Kitsap County. I've just been all day. It's been on my mind.
Well, I'm going to make your day today, Dan. Hi, guys. I have to say hi to my crew. Hi, guys. Anybody else are watching? Okay. I don't think so. I don't think we got any lookers. Okay. 28% of sellers in Kitsap County got under contract within the first 7 days on the market if they listed their home between July 7th and July 13th. But 50% of sellers in Kitsap County got under contract within the first 14 days on the market if they listed their home between June 23rd and July 7th, 6th, July 6th. I did pretty good there until that last one. 30% of sellers in Kitsap County set offer review dates. That's probably a good number. My daughter is still employing offer review dates, and I think she may have missed her offer review date today. We'll see. But she's been hitting them oftentimes with only one offer. So it's just kind of getting to that point where it's dicey whether you should set one or not. With that 28% getting under contract that first week, that's starting to get to the point where you start chasing buyers off, I think. So, and then we've got, so Kitsap County's got 1.5 months supply of inventory. So they've been creeping up over the spring and summer.
Yeah.
So it's interesting watching the market this summer.
You know, the thing is, it's not really that none of these metrics are particularly bad. I mean, if you're at 1.5 months worth of inventory, it's nothing to really worry about. It's just a little bit softer than it has been.
Yes, that's right. And the data is running quite a bit softer than it was in the spring. And it almost looks like kind of a downhill slide from, January, February, when there was very, very little inventory and stayed very strong through April. And then May started to see things soften a little more. And then as summer has progressed, we've seen those numbers come down. The first 7-day data, back in January and February, oftentimes we're in the 60 something percentile. And now we're seeing those data more, the 7-day data down into the, the 40s and sometimes the 30s. So especially King and Snohomish County.
You've done a really interesting study on offer review dates.
What I asked myself is it a good idea in King and Snohomish County? I don't know, the other, Kitsap has a similar market to Snohomish sometimes. Other times it's a bit weaker. It fluctuates a bit more than King and Snohomish. But I did the study on King and Snohomish counties. And so you've got on the screen here, you've got King. Let's do King first. So this study was conducted using the listings that came on the market July 8th through the 14th. Okay. So what I did is I took and divided those listings. I put them in a cart, and I saved the ones that set offer review dates into one cart. And then I took the ones that did not set an offer review date and put those in a second cart. And then I took a look at those today to see which group sold in, which group had a higher number that sold within the first 7 days on the market. And then also how many of those sellers missed their offer review date. So this is what we came up with. So 318 sellers set offer review dates. Okay, from between the 8th and the 14th of this month. So this is really new data. Today is just the 23rd. So this is really, really fresh data. And we had 50% of those sellers get under contract within the first 7 days. So that's a great number. Now, if we look at the group that did not set an offer review date, how many got under contract within the first 7 days? 33%. So it looks to me like, just using that data, that it gives you an edge to set an offer review date, assuming that you're really well prepared for the market. So let's look a little further into the group that set an offer review date. So we actually had, let's see, we had 7% received an early offer. So that means that offer has to be compelling, which means it probably has to be well over asking price, because you're asking the seller to take their home off the market and forego their offer review date. So 7% of at least 7%. There's going to be more than that, because when we're looking at the data, there's going to be some that went pending inspection early and then maybe went pending later. And it looks like they made their offer review date, but actually it was an early offer. Not very many early offers have inspections, though. So I think this data is fairly accurate. So those that went pending, on their offer review date or within 24 hours, 38% of the sellers did. So of those that set offer review dates, 38% went pending within 1 day of when they set their offer review date. So if you added both of those numbers up, you've got 7 and 38%. So a total of 45% either received an early offer or they got offers on their offer review date. So how many missed? 55% of the sellers missed their offer review date. But still, 7% got early offers and 50% were under contract within the first 7 days. Not bad, right? So that's King County. And so that to me says still set an offer review date. That still makes sense to me.
Well, and the other stat that you got here that I think really tells the tale is the percentage still active on the market.
Yes.
Of 723. If you didn't set an offer review date, 59% of those are still on the market.
Yes, and that was for the ones that reviewed offers upon receipt. So we had almost 60% of those are still active on the market today, whereas only 36% of the group that set offer review dates are still active today. So another interesting statistic, I really still like the idea of setting an offer review date in King County. So yeah, I thank you for mentioning that data, Dan. I skipped right over it, you guys. I did.
Well, it's kind of it's a biggie though, it's kind of tells a lot.
It is, because actually, I mean, that's even much more telling. Well, you've got over half that still are on the market when you've got the other group that are, a good percentage of those are off the market by now. So that's actually a disparity of 23%.
Yeah.
23% less. Yeah, right. I mean, it's anyway, it's big. So I would still be setting an offer review date depending on the style of home, right? So like I'm looking at listing a townhome, and those may or may not be as it may or may not be as easy to sell an attached townhome as single family residential. And this is a study on single family residential. So it looks to me like when I look at the townhomes in the community that I'm going to be listing one in, about half of them set offer review dates.
Right.
And so, and the market is this time of year when it's, there's a little less activity. So we'll see. I haven't made up my mind yet. I'm thinking I'm going to feel it out.
You want to switch over to Snohomish here? Take a look at that.
I do. So this is interesting too. So I conducted this study for the same time frame that we did for King County. So July 8th to the July 14th. So for the for the properties that were listed between July 8th and July 14th in Snohomish County. So of those, it was 89 that set offer review dates during that week, and 44% went pending within the first 7 days of those that set offer review dates. Now, of those that did not set offer review dates, there was 139 listings that did not set offer review dates. 37% of those went pending within the first 7 days. So that's a disparity of 7% less. So what went under contract within the first 7 days. So, and let's go straight to early offers let's look at offer review dates. So there were 11% of those offers of the sellers that set offer review dates received early offers. So 11%. 31% of sellers went pending on or around their offer review date. So either on that date or within 1 day. Worth noting, 57% of sellers missed their offer review date in Snohomish County. And then let's look at how many are still active between those that set offer review dates and those that reviewed offers upon receipt. So we've got 47% of those that set offer review dates still active on the market right now. So as of this morning, we had 57% of those that are reviewing offers upon receipt that are still on the market. So that's a higher number. So it still looks to me like setting an offer review date is the smarter option. And again, it's going to depend on the style of home, etc.
Well, and the other thing is it gives you a lot of incentive, I think, if you've got it in the game plan to start with, to say, okay, we're going to set an offer review date. We better get this little gem shined up and we need to
Yeah.
follow all of the steps to the 12-step program that you got.
Don't be skipping anything. I know my client right now that we're getting this townhome ready. I know he doesn't want to pay to have the outside of the windows clean, but it needs it desperately. And he faces a green belt, and I got to tell you, it needs to be done. I doubt that they've had the exterior of the windows cleaned the entire time they've lived there. So it needs to be done. And so I'm kind of putting my foot down. And he's getting cleaners in there. I
need to buy him a bottle of Windex and some paper towels as a gift. I think I need to.
Well, the problem is there's a second floor. And so, if it was just a single story, then, we can kind of wing that ourselves. I can get out there, and I've got a window washing kit. It's pretty easy to do the ground floor, but it's impossible to do the second floor especially when there's roofs in the way and stuff. So, anyway, so that needs to be done. He did find a cleaner. He kind of shopped cleaners, and he's found one that I think they're charging him $300 to clean the townhome, which sounds like an awful steal of a deal to me. I hope it works out good. And then he had me shop my stager. So my stager came in at $3,200 for 4-week stage, and to stage the whole thing. And he was not happy with that price. He thought that sounded steep, and it, prices have gone up in the last 5 years, right? And so I would have assumed about 5 years ago we could have gotten it done for $2,500. But what happened was I called the stager that filled in for my gal when she was in Mexico, and Barbara, and she did a wonderful job staging my Rambler in Autumn Meadows. Really wonderful job. And she had this other gal, Amanda, helping her. And so what happened was I called up Barbara, and Barbara says, "Oh, I had to retire." So she just can't keep up the pace, and I don't blame her at all. So she's decided to step back and hand the reins to Amanda. So Amanda came out and took a look at Frank's place yesterday, and she sent me over a quote for $2,500. And I said, Eden Staging is offering 30 days free in addition to the first 30 days, so 60 days. And so I said, would you consider, an extra 2 weeks? And she said that she could do that. So we're going to get a 6-week stage for $2,500. And I love it because it might take a little longer to sell this time of year. Ideally we would have gotten on the market in April or May, ideally. But now we're midsummer, and it's okay, but it could take us, we could miss that first 7 days. We certainly could. We could miss the first 14 days. I don't think we will. I really don't. I don't think we'll miss the first 14 days. I don't even think we'll miss the first 7. He's got a brand new kitchen. There's a lot, and brand new carpet, by the way. New carpet went in today. So the bedrooms look really nice. Yeah. So, and it's got a new vanity and mirror in the primary bathroom. So that looks pretty good. So it's shaping up nicely. I think once it's staged, stager's going to get started on Saturday. She's going to start our contract on Monday, but I'm going to put her a contractor box on. She kind of follows Barbara's model, which she takes a few days. She likes to study it, be thoughtful about what she brings back the next day, and then come back a third day to really kind of polish it up. And I appreciate that. My other stager, Elena, she's super fast. She's got a formula, and she knows what goes with what and exactly what each space needs. And she can set it up in an hour or 2. So there's a lot to be said for, one and done. But I don't mind if someone needs to be a little bit more thoughtful or would like to be more thoughtful of the process. And so I'm happy to give her that leeway as long as she doesn't charge us for it. So anyway, it's shaping up nicely, I will say. So
Nice.
cleaners tomorrow, windows on Thursday, stager Saturday. And, a few things Frank needs to do. He needs to touch up the ceiling in the kitchen where they replaced the light fixture with his alabaster Sherwin-Williams paint that he still needs to go pick up. So we got to do a couple touch-ups in the bathroom and in the kitchen for the walls. But other than that, it looks like it's going to be ready to go for next week. So,
well, congratulations. That's very exciting.
Yep. it should be very cool. So I'll be walking the neighborhood on Thursday with my flyers welcoming people to the neighbors only open house Thursday evening. So that should be fun. I plan on holding another open on Friday. So I think we'll test the market those 2 days and we'll see what kind of activity we get. And if it looks brilliant, then we'll set an offer review date. And if it looks tepid, then we'll probably just review offers upon receipt. So
cool. Well, that's
pretty exciting.
Yeah, good luck with it. Congratulations getting that thing up and
thank you.
Up and going.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah,
you got some business going too, don't you, Dan?
Oh yeah, we got a few things, a few fires, irons in the fire, as they say.
Yeah, Dan and I even have a mutual client. We got under contract. So
yeah, we got good news on that file today. We got
good.
Got that out of underwriting today, and all that was very good news overall.
Yeah.
And
yes.
So, yeah, we're moving forward, and we've been having a little bit of talk behind the scenes about maybe moving the closing date up, and I think that's going to be very doable at this point. We've got our crack processing team working on things, and so she's looking at it, and we're looking good. Yeah, we're looking good. So
I wanted to touch on something, Dan. This whole process with getting Dave and Lisa into a house, a couple things happened. So for one, when we were having the inspection,
yes,
the sellers left. The wife was headed to work, and so my clients were not there yet. The buyers were not there yet, but myself and the inspector were there, and so we were, we chatted with them briefly. They both seemed lovely. And, then they took off. He took her to work. And I assumed that, he would show up when the inspection was over or later in the day. And in fact, he came back within about 30 minutes. I was surprised to see us still there, assuming that the inspection would have been over already. And then it was just kind of fortuitous because we actually had a question about how to get the fireplace to turn on. So we went and rounded him up and said, hey, how does this work? And so he was able to show us where the remote was, and that the fact that they keep the batteries out of the remote because it does have a tendency to drain the batteries. And so he was able to give us some helpful hints. And then he proceeded to want to show my buyers around the place because there's all these cool things like a water softener, and there's the jacuzzi and maintaining the water softener. And so, he wanted to show the new buyers, all the cool things about the property, which I can appreciate. And so sellers, as much as we appreciate that, sometimes it's can be a little much. But
well, they had a very, if I'm not mistaken, they had kind of a unique weed maintenance program.
That's what I was going to go to next. So I was going to say, so sellers maybe don't show up during the inspection. It can be helpful, but I could have always emailed or texted the agent about how to operate the fireplace. But the other thing I wanted to mention is that the furniture situation, then we'll get to the weed situation. So furniture, sellers don't offer your furniture to the buyers. It creates another negotiation after the negotiation of the house. And it's in the end, it's going to hurt your feelings, right? If they don't take everything at the price you want, your feelings are going to get hurt. And so that happened here. So, of course, if my clients are being asked to pay nearly retail, they're going to want to come back and see the furniture and see if they really want it or not. So we had that appointment, and they had to, and then they met with a designer, and the designer said, hey, listen, that's their furniture. You don't really need it. And so I think the word to the wise, or the takeaway from that story is that maybe we don't offer the furniture to the buyer for sale, right? If it's stuff that you feel like you can leave for free, ask the buyer if they want it. If they don't, then, don't do another negotiation with the furniture is my point. And the other thing is that when the buyer and the buyer's agent are leaving, best not to mention your weed control techniques if they involve spraying gasoline on the ground to kill weeds, and then tell the buyer that, oh, it doesn't work for very long, so we have to do it again. Don't do that. Don't do that. Please don't do that. Oh, please don't do that. No. Mm-mm. Not sure if that should go in the environmental section of the Form 17, but don't use gasoline to kill weeds. 2, if you do, don't do that. Don't use gasoline to kill weeds. It's not an acceptable practice.
Works pretty well.
Don't do it. It makes everyone uncomfortable.
Just don't smoke around the weeds. You'll be fine.
I know, that's what the wife said. She goes, "Oh, you don't want to smoke around here." I was like, "Oh no. I'm not sure I should be saying this out loud." I'm not sure my clients care, but I just was like, thank God the house is only 3 years old, right? Anyway,
Well,
holy cow. So, yeah, so word to the wise. Mind what you say to buyers. It's always a good idea not to have the buyer and seller get together.
I thought the word to the wise was not to smoke around gasoline was the word to the wise.
What are you going to do? I don't know.
What are you going to do?
Think, the reason we keep buyers and sellers away from each other is not so that we don't find out the truth, right? But, to keep someone from saying something they probably shouldn't say, or, to the other party, for one, could hurt their feelings, or 2, could blow up the transaction. I mean, if somebody was really sensitive about having gasoline being poured on their property, not poured, probably sprayed, but it makes me uncomfortable. It makes me uncomfortable.
Yes. Yeah. Well. That's the real estate business. You just never know what's going to come up.
It's a lot of gray areas. A lot of gray areas.
A lot of gray areas.
A lot of gray. I mean, I don't even know what you do with that statement. I really don't.
Oh, I do have something I wanted to mention. I forgot to mention it at the beginning.
Excellent.
There is
what do you got, Dan?
I think it's coming out tomorrow, but there's this report that comes out from the Census Bureau that the markets are kind of waiting for. It's called the QCEW, and it's the quarterly census update, basically. The quarterly census employment something. And then, so what they do is so this is July. They're going to take the data from the fourth quarter of 2023, and they have a first estimate that gets reported, then a second estimate, third estimate, and then finally you get to where we're at today, and they have the official numbers. It's only 7 months later or something like that. But anyway, it's going to be interesting because the last time they had the QCEW update, it was really a lot weaker than what the numbers were being reported. And it's going
to we'll find out what the real data is what you're saying, for the last quarter of last year.
Right.
So tomorrow.
That's right. Yeah. So that
interesting. That should be interesting.
It is. It is kind of interesting considering that the last month, there's been, I hate to say this, but there's been a lot of suspicion around some of these economic numbers that have been coming out. And they look, they never know. They could have been a little manipulated here or there. You just don't know.
Government might have been a little too optimistic or pessimistic.
Yeah, might have had the thumb on the scale. It's a possibility. You never know. But having said that, they have to true things up. And tomorrow's when they true things up. So that's why it's going to be an interesting report. So we'll see what happens. Yeah.
6-7 months later, we'll see how honest they were being back then.
Yeah, I wouldn't put much bet on honesty. I don't think that's a good point. So, but I tell you what, it will move the market somewhat. I think it will move the markets, and it's going to be at least a little bit. It'll move things,
Cool.
So that's something to keep an eye out for. And then later on this week, we have the Fed's favorite measure of inflation, the PCE, Personal Consumption Expenditures, and that's going to be coming out on Friday. So then next week, I think we'll have the employment numbers a week from Friday, I think. So we've got a lot of big data coming up here. A lot of big
Right
data
on.
that's coming here in the next week and a half, which it's going to be interesting. We'll see. We'll see how strong or weak the employment market looks, and if you start to see some weakening, it's going to be very positive for interest rates.
Yes.
So
yes. Yep.
so we'll see. It's
Okay.
not much we can do about it now, but I'll tell you what, in the next week to 2 weeks, it's going to be an interesting period of time. So
Yeah. Yeah.
I think that's about all I got.
That's all I got too, Dan.
Well, I'll tell you what. Let's call it an evening
Call
and
it a live.
call it a live. That's right.
Thanks for watching, you guys.
Yes. Thanks for watching.
Thanks for watching. We try to do this on Mondays. Today we got put off until Tuesday, but we do try to do this around 4:00 on Monday, right, Dan?
We try. Yes, we do.
We try. Yes.
We
If
try.
we miss Monday, we shoot for Tuesday. If we miss Tuesday, we shoot for Wednesday.
Hey,
and so on and so forth.
It's the real estate business. Things happen. You do the best you can.
That's true.
So,
That's true. I got a little busy there for a couple of weeks, and
Let's
that's
sort it
always
out.
good. It's a good thing. It's a good problem to have. And then I've been working on my pond, which is now complete. So I need to do a live TikTok and show the folks the completed pond. So my two fish that survived the transition are happy as little fishies can be in their big new swimming pool pond. So with their water feature, aerating their water for them, and all their lilies and all my water irises. So it's pretty cool. It's been a fun project, Dan. I'm glad to have it done. To be honest.
Congratulations to the two goldfish that survived.
Yes. They'll be getting some new friends this week.
Oh, good. Well, they won't be the whole. They probably love it right now. They rule the whole pond.
Yeah. Well, I think they could get along with a couple more. I used to have like 25, 26 fish in there, and then the great blue heron kind of scalped it.
Oh.
Went fishing in my pond and nabbed a bunch. Nabbed like 20 of them, and I only had like 6 left. But
free hors d'oeuvres for the blue heron.
Yes, he had a good meal. Yes. Yeah. All right, Dan. Well, this has been fun.
Kat. Thanks. It's been great. And talk to you soon.
Okay, see you later.
All right. Bye-bye.